Peru, home of the world's longest mountain range, the Andes, the spine of South America. Here, in a high river valley, among peaks towering over 20,000 feet, the Inca established their capital city of Cusco, which thrived for over 300 years, until Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century. Above Cusco, at an elevation of more than 12,000 feet, looms the ancient fortress of Sacsayhuaman, whose immense stone walls may hold secrets which predate the Inca themselves.
My feeling, very strong feeling, is that we're looking at a two-phase construction site in many of the so-called Inca stone monuments. And that the Inca structures sit on top of much more ancient rock-cut structures and megalithic structures that we just don't know who built them. And this actually fits with the Inca's own view.
Like many Inca sites, Sacsayhuaman features astonishing stonework, but not all of it credited to the Inca. According to conventional archaeology, the Quilque culture built the older sections of the site approximately 1,000 years ago. But the Inca themselves believed the site was constructed by an earlier unnamed race of people, led by a powerful god who descended from the skies.
Throughout time, there has been witness to a god named Viracocha that visited the South American people and blessed them and gave them all types of technology. And some of his physical characteristics make him stand out from the indigenous population because he was a very tall, pale-skinned, white-haired being.
But did this god Viracocha actually exist? Could he have been, as ancient astronaut theorists suggest, a visitor from an alien world? If so, it might help to explain just how the ancient site was constructed.
This rock weighs about 20 tons. This is minuscule compared to many of the rocks at Sacsayhuaman. Today we have heavy machinery to move such stones, but in the ancient times, especially the Inca, they would have used massive human workforces working for massive amounts of time. A rule of thumb is it takes about 10 to 20 men to move a 1-ton rock. So when you're talking hundreds of tons, you're talking thousands of men.
What we see is a culture who have got the technology to quarry giant blocks of stone, move them to the site where they want to build, and then to stack and cut and articulate these massive blocks into, in some cases, almost indestructible structure.
Talk about granite, you're talking about a composition of feldspar, mica, and quartz. So you need diamond to actually braid it or cut it. We would use diamond today to cut granite. Those are the kind of discoveries that lead one to question whether they were really using the tools in the ancient toolbox or whether there was something else at work.
Cusco, Peru. Today, the Church of Santo Domingo sits on the foundation stones of what was once considered the most important temple to the ancient Inca, the Coricancha Temple of the Sun, the original structure, which is believed to predate the Incan civilization, was rebuilt in the 15th century by the ruler Pachacuti after he came into possession of a mirrored disc.
Pachacuti is the first Inca who really created the Inca as an empire, not just as one of many cultures in the Andes.
A legend has it that Pachacuti traveled to a spring to the east of Cusco. A disc was said to have fallen from the sky into the spring. And when Pachacuti lifted out of the water, he saw an image of Viracocha the creator. The apparition told Pachacuti, "You will win many wars." Within 10 years, Pachacuti expanded the empire in a way that's never been seen in history before.
The myths say that he held that mirror with him for the rest of his life, and any answers he wanted to look into the future or what to do, he consulted the mirror, and the mirror told him what to do.
The disc that Pachacuti found truly was his key and his driving force to become one of the most powerful emperors in history.
Pachacuti began the expansion of the Incan territory from the Valley of Cusco to encompass 2,500 miles of the west coast of South America, from Quito, Ecuador, to Talca, Chile.
Worldwide, it doesn't matter what ancient culture, there is some type of a worship of a disk that came from the sky. It is possible that this disk had some type of an extraterrestrial connection and that this disk was a technological device.
You have to wonder, was it some kind of extraterrestrial object that Pachacuti was now carrying around with him that allowed him to communicate with these extraterrestrial gods that were guiding him?
We've already had smartphones that have come out in our own history where it's a lot more than what it appears. You're looking at all of your apps. You can watch movies on it. You can send email. You can have telephone calls. You can have video calls, all kinds of things. So that disk may have been something with a great deal of computer circuitry in it, something that had far more capability than we could ever normally imagine.
If the accounts of Pachacuti's magic disc are true, could it have contained some sort of alien technology? According to ancient astronaut theorists, further evidence that alien discs exist on Earth can be found in the Ayumarca mountain region of Peru. At the site known by the locals as the Puerta de Ayumarca, or Gate of the Gods, is an enormous 23-foot-high door-like structure carved into the solid rock face. Contained within it is a smaller T-shaped opening just under 6 feet in height with a circular depression inside.
Local legends tells us that the gods would use this as a gateway or a stargate through which they would come and go. They opened the doorway through this disc that was placed in a little alcove or etching place inside the doorway.
One of the stories, too, is that a high priest named Amaru Meru utilized a disc to open this door. And so this was his computer or key that opened this dimensional doorway.
Once again, the disk is the key. Here we have an apparent extraterrestrial technology in the form of a disk, and you would then pop the disk into where the door is, and that would open the portal. This circular area has been found where the door is located. And so it does suggest that there may be some veracity to these ancient legends.
Bolivia, South America. Here, 45 miles west of La Paz, isolated high in the Andes Mountains, lie the mysterious ancient ruins of Pumapunku. Spread across a desert plateau at an altitude over 12,000 feet, the megalithic stones found here are among the largest on the planet, measuring up to 26 feet long and weighing more than 100 tons each.
These are the mysterious ruins of Pumapunku, nearly 13,000 feet in the Altiplano of Bolivia. What you have here are massive blocks of granite scattered like some kids' toy blocks around the site. It's like some giant cataclysm just wiped out this entire area. Archaeologists are baffled by what Pumapunku was, how it looked, and what the purpose of this enormous structure would have been.
Mainstream scientists believe the site was originally constructed about 2,000 years ago. But in 1945, archaeologist Arthur Poznansky proposed that Pumapunku was much, much older. By examining the structures and what he believed were their original alignment with the stars, he dated the ruins to 15,000 BC.
Arthur Poznansky was a researcher who was part Bolivian. He had worked at the site for many decades, and he concluded that the site must have been built about 17,000 years ago by studying the archaeoastronomy of that particular site.
We don't know how old Pumapunku is. We have had some circumstantial dating, but we have been unable to date the stones of Pumapunku themselves. They could be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years old. We don't know.
I think the fascinating thing about Pumapunku is how did these structures get built? We're talking about stone that is 25 feet high, stone that is hundreds of tons.
Pumapunku is so unique in the way that it was constructed and shaped and positioned that it is the most intriguing ancient site on the planet. Of all the places I've ever visited, Pumapunku is the one that I go back to time and again because no one can solve the mystery.
Mainstream scholars believe the andesite blocks found at Pumapunku were formed by hand with primitive stone tools. But some researchers point to the intricate stonework as evidence of the use of advanced precision technology.
One of the amazing things here at Pumapunku is the precision of the blocks. You can see with this block of granite that it's really been cut at very accurate right angles. Not only do these granite blocks have precision corners, but they also have these difficult drill holes that are going right through the rock.
But how could such primitive people, living perhaps tens of thousands of years ago, have produced such flawless stonework? Might the ancient builders of Pumapunku have fabricated the megalithic stones with advanced technology? Technology of an otherworldly origin, as ancient astronaut theorists believe.
If you look at the stones carefully and you get a magnifying glass on some of them, you can see some intricate stonework, as though they're using machine tools or even lasers. It's absolutely incredible. I've seen nothing like it anywhere on the planet.
When an architect or an engineer looks at Pumapunku, one thing jumps out immediately: that whoever built this place had knowledge of planning, of logistics, and had access to advanced technology.
You know, Brian, this is one of the most interesting and unusual stones here at Pumapunku. It's got these perfect right angles. And then each of these small drill holes are basically evenly spaced along this routed groove. To me, it's clear that power tools have been used on this unusual block of stone here.
Well, exactly, and this surface is as smooth as a tabletop, like in your kitchen. There's no wave to it or anything. This was machined. But who machined it? It's an astonishing piece of work, and how anyone could think that primitive human beings could have done this. You know, it's just crazy. If anything looks like ancient aliens, it's this stone.
Outside the ruins of Sacsayhuaman, just a mile and a half from the Coricancha Temple in Cusco, are little-known entrances to underground passageways dating back to the Inca. Many of the openings have been covered up and sealed for public safety, but a few still remain accessible. In 2017, David Childress visited the site of one of the remaining open tunnels.
There is a labyrinth of tunnels beneath Cusco, and they extend for hundreds of miles in every direction. And some of these tunnels even intersect. Over the years, these tunnels have been blocked off and sealed, but you can still access parts of this tunnel system, such as this tunnel here, cut through solid rock. Local legend says that the sun disk was transported out of the city through these tunnels. There's been a lot of speculation of where the sun disk was taken, and treasure hunters have been searching for this location for centuries.
Legends recount 3 myths as to how the sacred golden sun disk left Cusco. Some legends maintain that it was taken out through a tunnel system to Gran Patiti, a lost Inca village at the top of a mountain which the Spanish never ever found. Some maintain it was taken to Sacsayhuaman, and some maintain it was returned to Lake Titicaca, from whence it came.
Located more than 200 miles southeast of Cusco, at an elevation of over 12,500 feet above sea level, Titicaca is the highest navigable lake in the world and considered sacred to the local Andean population.
In the Incan creation myth, their god Viracocha emerged from Lake Titicaca. This goes along with ancient myths and legends that tell us that there's an etheric or ethereal city that's underneath Lake Titicaca. In light of this, it makes sense that the Incas returned their prized golden disc to the lake.
The temple was said to be a thing of imagination, a thing of wonder, until the year 2000. In the year 2000, a team of Italian divers and scientists ventured to the base of Lake Titicaca after finding a road of Inca stones. They followed the road for just less than half a mile into the lake and discovered a 650 by 150 foot temple underneath the waters of Lake Titicaca.